Paused advocate for the homeless and current political activist Regan Benson returned to YouTube this week with nearly 4.5 hours of new content over the first 2 days of the week, centering around her efforts to provoke responses from various members of Englewood, Colorado city government and support staff. Benson is currently suing the city of Englewood in a First Amendment lawsuit where she essentially alleges that the Englewood City Council conspired to violate her First Amendment rights by limiting her ability to film in the Englewood Civic Center, speak at city council meetings, and arranged her arrest for alleged violations of the city public code of conduct. The YouTuber's return to live streaming began with a planned appearance at the Englewood City Council meeting on Monday. She was accompanied by Sarah, who is the great-granddaughter of Leonard, a man whose house was seized by Englewood's city government after multiple incidents involving bad actors and the presence of methamphetamine on the property. In a nutshell, Sarah and her brother were adopted by her great-grandparents after her parents could not provide adequate care for them, and resulted in their placement in Child Protective Services. Sarah, her mother Crystal, who had previously appeared at city council meetings with Benson, and her brother lived with her great-grandfather in a home in Englewood. Her grandfather is blind and has hearing problems and needs help with his daily care that her mother and Sarah provided. There was an incident last year involving a friend of Sarah's brother at the home, which eventually led to the seizure of the home, the eviction of Sarah, her brother, and her mother, and her great-grandfather being placed into a nursing home as he was deemed unable to make decisions on his own. Leonard recently passed mental competency tests, but was still living at the nursing home as he has no home to return to. While Sarah's mother was recently allowed to obtain vital items from the home, Sarah was stopped from doing so by Englewood's city attorney, Tamara Niles. Niles stated that Sarah would need a contractor to enter the home on her behalf, as tests indicated that the home was contaminated with traces of methamphetamine. Benson's speech to the Englewood City Council Monday night centered on these events, though Benson had a hard time telling the story of Sarah's family while insulting and degrading members of Englewood City Council, police chief, city planner, and city attorney. When her time was up, she stormed out of the meeting and briefly attempted to provoke the Englewood Police Department officer who was working security for the event, as he was the officer involved in an arrest of Christopher Denver Metro Audits Cordova that saw charges recently dropped. The officer, appearing haggard and tired, did not respond to Benson's multiple attempts at provocation. Benson was back in Englewood on Tuesday, now accompanied by new sidekick Lewis Real Constitutional Upholders Johnson. The pair were carrying golden rakes that they described as pitchforks and American flags as they staged a planned protest in downtown Englewood. The nearly 4-hour live stream began with confusion by passers-by and those who inquired why Benson was carrying the garden rake as she screamed, "Google peasants with pitchforks," at them, instead of explaining the point of her protest. Walking around Englewood, Johnson remained mostly silent as Benson, who does not live in the city, criticized nearly everything the pair encountered, from an ugly art display to signs on businesses she didn't understand. Sharing her personal grievances, past history in the city, and demands for change during the first hour and a half of the planned demonstration. Eventually reaching the Englewood Police Department, Benson stopped in the lobby and demanded to have an officer come take a report of an incident from earlier in the day where she claimed she was almost sideswiped by a City of Englewood free shuttle bus. The BERT free shuttle program provides free transportation throughout the city to 19 stops during the day. Benson indicated that she thought the driver, she claimed to have almost sideswiped her new vehicle, was intoxicated and she wanted him arrested for driving with expired tags. Benson would wander off, with Johnson increasing his distance from her throughout the outside portions of the event for the rest of the protests, only to be greeted by a police officer who took her report. Offering a photo of the expired tag, she demanded that the driver be arrested for the incident. It is unclear if further action would be taken on the claim of an expired tag, as it was July 22nd, 2025, and the tag clearly indicated that it expired on July 22nd, 2025. During Benson's Tuesday adventure, she told her audience that she was not currently taking donations towards her Helping Hands for Dignity 501c3 organization. She said she was primarily volunteering her time at the moment and was not actively taking part in the organization. Benson and Johnson eventually made their way to the Englewood Civic Center, where Johnson abandoned his pitchfork, indicating he was tired of carrying it. The pair tested the Englewood City Code of Conduct rules against filming inside the building by filming in the library. Taking time to gloat to members of Allied security who were stationed at the front of the library, Benson said that she was responsible for having members of library staff fired for their part in her 2024 arrest for violating the Code of Conduct policies, and was now suing the city. When told that the no filming without consent rules were still in place, Benson said she could go around to every patron in the library and ask for consent to film, but wouldn't, as that might be construed as disorderly conduct. Benson's and Johnson's adventures came to an end when they attempted to attend a public budget advisory committee meeting, accidentally set off an alarm when they encountered locked doors, and were given access to the meeting by city planner Sean Lewis. The pair declined to attend the meeting at that point, exiting the building and pondering what trumped-up charges they would face later in the week for their activities during their protest. As of Thursday, no new charges were apparently filed against the pair.